So you're thinking about selling your home. Maybe it's time to upgrade, downsize, or finally get into that dream neighborhood. And the first thing everyone tells you is to call a realtor. But here's what most people don't realize. Before you talk to an agent, there's one person who can actually make or break the next move, and that's your lender. Because your next chapter, your next home, your next payment, your next level of freedom doesn't start with the listing price of your current home. It starts with all of the numbers that we have to figure out. So I meet with a lot of homeowners who are thinking about selling. And the first question I always ask is, what's your plan for after the sale? And usually there's a pause because so many people are just focused on prepping the house, getting it ready, cleaning, staging, and repairs, and not how the sale fits into their entire financial reality. And I want to fix that. And that's why your lender should really be your first call and not your last. See, we help you see the real numbers, not just the fantasy ones. Sometimes those online estimates and realtor pitch sheets often make your equity look bigger than it really is. And we need to calculate your true net, meaning how much are you really going to have to work with when you sell? And so we have to look at a couple of different things. The mortgage payoff, any second liens or HELOCs that you might have taken out on the property while you've owned it, taxes, commissions, and then closing fees. And when I start having these conversations, sometimes sellers forget that there are things and costs that go into selling of your home. And they just look at that big number of what they want to sell it for and then their payoff without realizing that there's so many other little parts that we have to factor in. And so we want to make sure that if you think you're walking away with $80,000, but after we put all of these numbers on paper, it might be closer to 45 or 50. And that can really make some big differences and changes on how you might move on to the next home. So we want to make sure that your next mortgage makes sense before you even decide to sell. And this is a big one that so many people rush to list and they find out later that they don't really qualify for what they need next, like the next home purchase, the next loan amount, or they're just not comfortable with how all the numbers came out, meaning they don't have enough money for their down payment, closing costs, or any of that on the next home purchase. And so that changes their plan. And if they've already done all of this work to list and sell their home, it can sometimes feel wasted, and then the dream comes crashing down. So I want to make sure that before you decide to sell your home, you're not stuck in limbo with no idea what you're doing.